Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dream Life Diaries podcast. I'm your host, McKenna, and this is the show all about dreaming, planning, and taking action steps towards making your dream life into your reality. On the show, we talk so much about inspiring what your dream life can be so you can take away inspiration to see all that you're actually capable of creating in your life. And along with that, we love to dive into action steps to make that dream life into your reality. So, here, we love to dream, but we also love to plan. So if you want to keep dreaming, but also start taking action to actually make your dreams come to life, then you're in the right spot. So let's dive into it. And just a warning, if the audio sounds any different today, it's because I'm recording in a different space than usual. Usually I love to be in a smaller room to kind of keep the audio contained, but long story short, having some maintenance issues again in my apartment, and my usual recording space, my room, is currently a disaster. I'm sure anybody who's ever lived in an apartment complex knows that getting things fixed takes way longer than it should most of the time. And long story, but my closet had just been, the shelf keeps falling down over and over again. And basically, my clothes are now just all over my bed and all over my room. So it was just not the space that I really wanted to be recording in today. So I am in my big living room. So if the audio sounds a little spaced out, a little all over the place, I am so sorry. So forgive me for that. But today, guys, we are diving into probably the most important topic, honestly, when it comes to creating your dream life. Today, we are talking about manifestation. And this is one of my absolute favorite topics, and I talk about this all the time throughout my other episodes. I honestly talk about this all the time in my normal day-to-day life, so any of my friends and family, they know very, very well how much I talk about manifestation, how passionate I am about it, because I've just seen the results for myself. So today, that's why I wanted to come on and do an episode dedicated to just manifestation, because I think there's a lot of misconception around manifestation. I think a lot of people hear the word and get the wrong idea about it. And people often think if you're trying to manifest something into your life, then you're sitting in your room at midnight, staring at the full moon, like making magic potions and harnessing like crystal piles and doing creepy stuff to manifest. But that is not it at all. I think manifestation at its core is just all about mindset and switching your mindset to really get yourself into the mind, the mental space that what you want is already yours. That's the core to it. And there's so much else that could feed into it as well. And we're going to dive all into this today. So that's why I wanted to come on here, talk a little bit about what manifestation really is, so there's no misconception about it, at least for the listeners here on the show. And that way, you guys can really get an idea of what I mean when I'm talking about manifestation, because like I said, there are different types of manifestation. People could approach it differently. So I just wanted to share my take on it as well and talk a little bit about my experience with it too, because I think when it comes to manifestation, it's so great to hear other people's stories to know that it does work and to give you that belief that it could work for you as well. So my intro to manifestation started probably about 6 years ago now. I think this really started to come about during my spiritual awakening when I was back in high school. Towards the end of high school, I think I was like 17, that's when I really started getting into not just manifestation, but the whole spiritual world. I think this was a time in my life where I was really pivoting and just really up leveling in terms of my mindset. And it's a point where I think I started kind of growing away from some of my friends at the time. And this wasn't COVID just yet, but the COVID was definitely the time when it took off for me the most. I think it's because I was, so isolated. I was able to really hone into myself without the distractions of my friend group and the people around me in school and everything, and really focus on my beliefs and what I truly believed. And I think that just led me so strongly in this direction. Around this time is when I started honestly getting into my hippie era, I love to call it. Like, I started getting so into yoga, into meditation, into like mindset rituals, into everything to really up level myself, not just physically, but really spiritually and mentally. And I think, as I said, I think it started to show such a distance between me and a lot of my peers at the time, just because when you're going down a spiritual pathway, you get into this mindset that's more just different. Like you think about things differently. I feel like you approach the world differently. It's the larger worldview. So I think my mindset started to really expand so far out of where my peers were at the time. And I think COVID later on in 2020, when that ended up happening, really helped push me into this space even further. So during that time as well, this is really when TikTok started to get really huge. And I was so against TikTok for the longest time, but I think it was during COVID when I finally caved and downloaded it. And I honestly love TikTok as a spiritual space. I think there's a lot of people on there that share the beliefs that it's hard to find information on otherwise. And I think TikTok's a great place for people to actually share their honest feelings and their honest beliefs and honest, information, because people just post everything on there. And honestly, I love the community that I've seen on there for things like manifestation. So I think honestly, I just ended up scrolling past something talking about manifestation one day. I think it was probably just some girl talking about how she manifested something into her life. And this really clicked with me. And I think this was also right before those two girls ended up posting a video about the lucky girl syndrome. I think that was probably later 2020 or 2021. I forget, so don't quote me on that. But it was similar timelines when those girls posted that video. And I think that's when manifestation really blew up. I know lucky girl syndrome, for context, is basically is a video that these two girls posted one day. They're like young girls in high school and they're just sitting in their car, and the one girl I think was talking about how every day she says like I'm so lucky, and I truly believe like I'm so lucky, everything works out for me. And she said that she says this to herself every single day, and good things just keep happening. And I forget, it's been so long since I've seen this actual video, but basically these two girls are just saying like, you just believe that you are the luckiest person in the world and good things will happen to you. And I think they said this after they came to like a drive-through and got free food or something, something like that happened. But they talked about how many instances that that's worked out for them in their life. And this is manifestation. That is manifestation. What they're doing, what they're saying is an affirmation, and we'll dive all into this today. But what they're saying to themselves every day, I am so lucky, everything works out for me, that's an affirmation. But affirmations are a form of manifestation. So we will dive all into this. However, moving into my freshman year of college after this era is when I really started, seeing more videos. Once again, TikTok just really started becoming more and more popular. At least for me, because I was so against it. For me, I was finally actually getting into TikTok, and this was like 2020, 2021. So during this time, I just kept seeing so many videos. I was doing my own research and I just found it so interesting. The fact that you could change your life by just doing something on your own. You don't have to go out there and do anything crazy, but just like being able to do something yourself to spark some change was so inspiring to me, and it was something I really wanted to dive into. So I kept doing my own research, ended up getting a lot of useful information, and I started really diving more and more into manifestation. During this time, I really prioritized journaling as my form of manifestation. I mean, I definitely did some affirmations and tried doing some mindset work, but once again, at the time, I was still newer to the space. I've only done so much research, so I really focused on journaling. And I think that's because I always loved writing. I've always loved journaling myself. So what I would really do is get a journal. And at this time I had a pink journal that I would jot some notes in, throughout my days and stuff to just kind of keep track of my life, because I love to be able to look back on that and reflect on my, past experiences, past years and everything. So I had a journal that I would write in sometimes, and at this point in time, I just reserved a tiny little section in the back of this pink journal where I would write down my manifestations. During this time as well, I really focused in on bolded manifestations. So I would just write a jotted list of the things that I want to manifest into my life, and that's pretty much my way that I was going about things at the time. And my first time actually manifesting something was once again in my freshman year when I really started getting into the space. I was going through an interesting living situation. So it was COVID. And because of this, I ended up not going to live in a dorm room. Just didn't want to deal with the COVID restrictions in a dorm. It just seemed so scary. And honestly, I wanted to come to school here in Charleston for so many years that I just did not want the chance being sent home, because at the time it was a crazy world. Everybody was just being sent home from their colleges and everything. So I just wanted to be in Charleston, have a lease here, and just figure it out. So I ended up moving to an apartment, but at the time, every apartment building was sold out, like to the max. And the only thing that me and my roommate at the time could find was one studio apartment. So we decided to split a studio apartment, teensy tiny, like the to this day the tiniest studio apartment I've ever even seen in my entire life. Like I don't even know how it was possible for us both to live in there, but we ended up, if you're curious, removing all the furniture that they provided for us because it was a student housing, so they provided furniture for us. So we had to remove all of the furniture and put in two bunk beds. So it was literally a dorm room, but with a kitchen, which honestly it wasn't bad. It was actually really great. But at the time it was just very interesting. It was super tight. And coming from, my family home where I've never lived with anybody a day in my life and like shared a room, I've never shared a bathroom. It was just a huge change. But honestly, once again, I think it was great. We ended up, we weren't best friends or anything, but like we got along. However, I ended up meeting these other groups of friends in that apartment building, and we got really, really close. And I was in my freshman year, I was always out late at night, coming in late, and it was just hard to have a roommate because she really was the opposite, really like to stay in all the time. So I felt like a huge burden to her being there, coming in late all the time, just trying to do my own thing. And I also got, once again, really close with these other girls. And I just wanted so badly to be able to live with them. So I think this was about probably later in the fall, or right around Christmas break, I would think, of my freshman year when I just decided, I really, really want to live with these other girls. So this is when I started jumping into trying to manifest this. I remember journaling. I, wrote down my manifestations to be able to live with my friends. I wrote down, so many bullet points related to being able to live with my friends, being able to not have an issue with my current lease, to be able to, be able to live with my friends but not pay any extra money. Basically, I didn't want to pay a double lease. That was crazy. So I wrote down all these affirmations. I think everything just worked out with my lease. It just worked out. And eventually, right around that time, my friends who lived in a 4-bedroom apartment, one of their roommates ended up leaving. She just dropped out. She just wasn't really happy with, being here in Charleston. So she dropped out, just picked up and left one day and just left her entire room. Just left it, didn't find a subleaser or anything, just left her room open. So this was what I really saw as my opening. And my friends were like, McKenna, you need to come move in with us. Like, we have this open room. She left it wide open. Like, she's gone. She didn't really care if you're here. Like, come live with us. This is when I started to see things really working out in my favor. And when I was going into the situation, I really thought that if things manifested the way I wanted them to, I really thought it was going to work out. Like I would find a lease takeover and I would sign a whole new lease and fully move into this apartment with my friends and then have like, everything working out. Someone takes over my lease, etc. But when you're going into manifestation, the biggest thing is a lot of times things don't manifest the way that you expect them to. And this is huge. So what actually ended up happening was I just ended up going to stay in this girl's room. Once again, they provided furniture for us, so the furniture was already there. I just got like a cheap comforter and went and started staying in that room. And I would start bringing my stuff up, and like, I was still living at my apartment in the studio, but I was mostly staying at this apartment with my friends in the 4-bedroom. Tried time and time again to get somebody to cover my lease so I could make it official, but it just didn't work out. I mean, nobody was really going to move into a random studio with another person halfway through the year. It was just a crazy situation. So that never worked out. But and once again, I'm not really proud of just taking over this girl's room just randomly. I'm not proud of that at all. But I think, hopefully you guys know in college, like anything goes. It's kind of crazy. So at the time, we all thought this was like a great idea. This was fine. And it really ended up working out so well for me. I mean, I got to have my own space and I was there for like literally 4 months with my friend. Nothing happened with my lease downstairs. My roommate got her own space because I think she really needed that. I got my own room it was my own room, had a balcony. Like to this day, say that that's probably my favorite room, my favorite space that I've ever lived in. I loved that apartment building, side note. But it just worked out in every sense. I mean, like I said, my roommate got her own space. I got to live with my really close friends, and it really just ended up working out. And it wasn't the way that I originally expected it to, but it just totally worked out in my favor. And Eventually, it did come to a point when that girl ended up finding somebody to cover her room, I think, or the leasing company was realizing, hey, it's been 5 months. This girl gave us notice a little while ago that she's gonna leave, so they came to like check up on it. Long story short, that was about the time when I moved out of that room with my friends and back to my old space in the studio. This was going right into the summer months. So I think classes were just ending, it was in their final week. So I ended up only staying with my roommate in that, the tight space for another like week before she ended up going home. And then I had that whole space to myself. And it just really worked out for the best in honestly every way, shape, and form. And during that whole time, I think this is important to know, I forgot completely about trying to manifest the situation happening. I forgot about it completely because remember at the time, I really thought it was going to work in a perfect lease takeover, that somebody's going to take over my space. So it was just so different from what I originally planned that I honestly just completely forgot about it and forgot about it in general. And living in that different room, I left that pink journal back in my old studio. So it was totally out of sight, out of mind, and I forgot about it. And when I moved back in, I ended up picking up that journal from my bedside the one day I'll never forget. And I just flipped to the back because something told me like, hey, like let's look at like the things that you're writing back in here so long ago. Let's see what that was all about. So I was just flipping through that journal and I came across the manifestations. I read through them again and my jaw hit the floor. I was shocked that things actually worked out and worked out so well. And the fact that it wasn't the way originally planned, but the situation fit the script that I originally wrote out. Even with the chaos of not having a perfect lease, the situation fit exactly what I was writing about. I never said specifically somebody takes over my lease. I remember I wrote out something like, I get to live with my friends and not have to pay any extra money or something, or the situation just works out in my favor where I'm able to live with my friends. Like it was very vague, but what happened exactly fit that situation. So that's my introduction to manifestation. And after that, I just saw the true power of it and how the universe can give you what you're asking for as long as you set out the guidelines for it and really believe that it's going to be happening for you. And of course, since then, I've taken manifestation and absolutely ran with it. But let's start with the basics here. So, what actually is manifestation? And as I mentioned earlier, I really love being able to talk about this because I know this word gets thrown around a lot. And for some people, it sounds a little out there, it sounds a little woo woo, or like a little witchy. But in reality, manifestation is just the process of turning your thoughts, your beliefs, and your energy into your reality. And at its core, it's intentionally creating the life that you want by aligning your mindset, your emotions, and your actions with the version of you who already has that life. And here's the thing, we're actually manifesting all the time, whether we realize it or not. Every thought that we think, every belief that we hold, every action that we take, it's all shaping our reality around us. Manifestation just brings that process into awareness. It's kind of like instead of letting life just happen to you on autopilot, we're kind of taking the wheel and saying, this is the vision I have for my life, and I'm ready to step into it. I think this is a huge part of it because I think in life, we oftentimes can just go on autopilot mode. I think it's so easy to just shoot things out and be like, yeah, I want this. Like, yeah, I want $1 million. Yeah, I want to go just live at the beach. Yeah, I just want to go move somewhere else. Or yeah, I want a new job, but not take any action towards it. So manifestation is that way of kind of honing in on what it is that you want and taking the wheel and steering yourself towards that destination. But this is another important part, is that manifestation is not just about writing your dreams down just one time and hoping that they show up at your door, okay? It's not magic, and you can't just shoot something out there and write it down and say, I have $1 million and wake up the next day and have your bank account explode, okay? It's not just about wishful thinking. It's about becoming a match for the things that you want. And this also means doing the inner work, shifting your mindset, taking the aligned action, and trusting the timing of it all. So, in simple terms, manifestation is using your thoughts, your energy, your action to bring something into your life on purpose. And whether it's a dream job, a relationship, more confidence, financial freedom, etc., whatever it is, it all starts with the belief that that thing, that final destination, that conclusion is possible for you. And once you start practicing it, you will just see it's honestly such a powerful tool. And not just for getting what you want, but for becoming who you're meant to be and who you want to be. It's about changing more than just getting one conclusion, one thing that you want in life, one desire. It's about becoming the person that matches that energy. And I think something I actually hear people talk about a lot in this space is being that match for that conclusion, for that desire. If you're not the energetic match for being a millionaire, you're not going to become one. Or imagine if you weren't an aligned match for that and you did become a millionaire overnight, things wouldn't work out. Okay, let's say you're somebody who spends so much money, or like you're a big spender, you can't hold on to money, and somebody gave you $1 million overnight. Well, it would just go poof within a week, probably. And that's what the universe does not want. Okay, the universe will not give you something that's going to land in your lap and then disintegrate overnight, or something that's going to fall into your lap or come to you and it's just not going to work out. So, same thing goes, I think, for getting your dream job. If you're not aligned to be working that dream job, it's not going to work out if it comes to you. Let's say that a fast food worker, somebody who works at, let's say, McDonald's, was to be given the position of the CEO of Amazon overnight. Let's say something happened to Andy Jassy, the current CEO of Amazon, and he decided, yep, I want to hire somebody else to take over my position. And somebody who's just used to working fast food lines and everything got that position. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work out because they are not in the aligned energy to be in that position. They don't have that experience. They don't have the mindset to take over that position. And chances are it wouldn't work out. So not only do you need to dream and to manifest these big things and really put in the work, but you also need to shift yourself and shift your energy to match what it is that you want. So if that's what you want to be, if you want to go and become the CEO of Amazon, you need to do things along with your manifestations to get you to the energy that you need to be in. You need to learn the skills, learn the mindset, make the connections, do the work to get yourself there as well. So it's not like it could just land in your lap overnight. You have to put in the work for yourself to change as well. So now that we've dived into a little bit on what manifestation is, let's talk about how do we manifest. And I think over time, we've learned that we can manifest in so many different forms. Okay, so now that we've talked about what manifestation is, let's talk a little bit on how we can manifest. So I think over time, we've learned just how many different ways that we can actually manifest things into our life. And one of my favorite ways, what I was talking about earlier, is writing things out. So just get a notebook, dedicate a bulleted list to writing out your manifestations. Jot things down in there and keep the space. And I love also keeping a dedicated space for your manifestations. So it's already like an energetic alignment to the space that you're writing in because it's dedicated to your manifestations. Write out a bulleted list. Or also journal. Journaling might sound similar to writing out a bulleted list, but it's actually so different. So this is another great way to start manifesting. Unlike writing a bulleted list, journaling is writing as if your story was already playing out. It's like your own personal diary, but it's in that future state. So let me dive into this a little bit. So this form of manifestation is writing things out like a diary entry, as if they have already happened. So what I like to do whenever I use this method is write things out, and usually I'll choose that day a year from now. So today it is April 7th. So if I were to do this today, I would open up my manifestation journal, title it as April 7th, 2026, a year from today. You choose any date, you choose 6 months, but just for example, I would do April 7th, 2026, and then I would do a whole entry about what my life looks like right now. I would write this as if I was already in that future state, as if a year from today, a year in the future, I'm living the exact life I want to live. So I would go into the smallest details, and this is really important here too, is to go into the small details. I would start out with, I wake up in my dream apartment, and I would give some details there. I'd be like, I wake up and I see this room around me. I look out the window and I see the ocean or the city outside my window. And I get up and I get to have freedom in my mornings. I get to make my matcha and to do a workout, and I get to work for myself. So I don't start working until 10 or 11 a.m. I get to work self-paced, so I could work for 5 hours a day, go on a long walk during lunchtime. And then I go to the beach with some friends, and then I go to dinner at this restaurant because I'm living in this city, and whatever you want it to be, you get to make it your mold. And that's what's actually so fun about this is it reminds me of being a little kid a little bit, where you just make up your dream scenario and pretend like it's already real. So just put yourself in that mindset. If you were your dream self a year from today, what would your life look like? What would those small details look like? How would you feel? And that's so great for this too. You have to dive into how you feel in that state. I would write things like, I wake up feeling so fulfilled and energetic and happy. I'm so energized and I feel so athletic because I get to go on a very long walk every single day, down by the water, and it feels so amazing to be in the sunshine every day. I get to walk out on my balcony and eat my breakfast overlooking this view on my balcony, and it's this temperature outside. I mean, those are the things that apply to me. So it's going to look different for every single person, but that's where I would start. No matter what it is you want to do, don't be afraid to be crazy. Like, once again, channel that childlike energy and don't be afraid to be crazy. Embrace the crazy, okay? Embrace the crazy and just dream of what your perfect life would look like, what a perfect day in your life would be, and write that down as if it already happens. Write it down, and while you're writing, channel that energy and channel that into your present state, okay? Channel it in as if it's already yours. Another great way to manifest is vision boards. And this could be a physical vision board on your wall, or it could also be Pinterest boards. Or I think there's like so many different ways virtually or digitally to create vision boards online, whether that's through Canva or other platforms. There are so many ways to create one yourself. But my original way of making vision boards was a physical poster board on my wall. And this has become a little bit of a tradition actually that me and my sister do every New Year's Eve. Instead of going out, we love to spend it together and we love to make our vision boards together. And we make a whole night of it. We drink our wine, we play some manifestation music. Like, it's a vibe. It is a vibe. And I love that my sister gets into this as well. It's so fun. So what I did my first time was I made a big vision board that I put up on my wall. And I just put on it all the things that I wanted to manifest, pictures of that dream life I wanted. And then once again, honing in on those small things. I would put up pictures of um, maybe like a table with a beautiful dinner in a different country because that's what I really wanted to manifest. At the time, I really wanted to go move abroad to Spain. So I put up all these pictures of Spain, of Madrid on there. And side note, but this is actually one of the other thing that I absolutely remember as manifestation working was I put up all these pictures of Spain on this vision board because I was so devoted to moving there this past year. Long story short, it didn't work out me moving there, but I ended up going on a 2-week trip to Spain, and I actually ended up going to Madrid, which I didn't originally plan on. It was one of those things where it just like really worked out and it was totally unplanned. But I had specifically pictures of Madrid on this vision board and I ended up traveling there. So once again, the universe doesn't always give you what you asked for in the exact way or the exact way you might think, but it does deliver. So it delivered me going to Spain and seeing those exact pictures, honestly, going to those exact dinners like I had on that vision board. So side note, crazy moment, but there's so many ways that the universe delivers you what you ask for if you just believe in it. And then once again, going back to vision boards, I love using Pinterest. I think this is such a great way to have your vision boards with you at all time. I use Pinterest all the time and I just make boards and boards of the different things I want to manifest into my life. And this is such a great way to be able to make it specific as well. I've had boards just for going to Spain. I've had boards for my career. I've had boards for school when I was back in school, what I wanted that life to look like, current boards for my travels, for business I want to create. You can make boards for everything. Health and fitness, that's a huge one as well. What I've also included in some of these vision boards is some motivation or some sayings on there. I've put little snippets on my physical vision boards of things like it always works out for me and money's always coming to me, things work out in my favor, like sayings like that. So every time I see it, I'm reading that and it's an affirmation with me just subconsciously seeing that every day when I wake up. I'm seeing that and it's sparking to my brain these affirmations and that these pictures are actually becoming my reality. This past year, I actually did a vision board, but in a different way. So going into this, I was considering combining a physical vision board like the post board and the journaling aspect where you write out your life like a diary as if it's already yours. I want to combine those both together. And so this past New Year's Eve with my sister, I made a scrapbook vision board. And I made this just like you would make a real life scrapbook. Just as if you were to make a scrapbook of what your past year looked like, I got a big book and it was a picture book with like some blank pages in it. And I made it as if it was a scrapbook from what my life looked like in 2025. I broke this down month to month, and I think it kind of included my goals month to month and realistic goals that I could actually achieve um, moving forward. They were definitely stretch goals for sure, actually big stretch goals. So it wasn't totally like I could just like reach out, grab this, make this come into my life so easily, but it kind of amped up throughout the year. So obviously I made this New Year's Eve. So January goals were just like health and fitness and getting healthier and maybe cooking more. And my life looked like this. And then February was also a lot of health and fitness. It was running, I think picking up like some side work and doing things for my content. March was similar things, but it keeps building throughout the year. Whereas later this year, it was moving to a new city, having this dream apartment, growing my content creation and my content and my podcast, working my dream job and getting offered a new position. And so these are the months that have not come yet. So I will do a review at the end of this year on whether this really worked out for me. But so far, I'm not going to lie, it's been kind of creepy accurate. And once again, it's about the essence of it. Like, I think I try to channel a certain vibe, a certain energy into each month. And so far, looking back, I'm like, holy crap. Like, it's been playing out. And the themes of these months that I put into the scrapbook are really coming to life month to month. It's actually kind of scary. So, once again, I'll do a review at the end of this year if this works out super well. But it's been kind of crazy. And like I said, I know it kind of amps up throughout the year, so we will see if we stay on track actually, because it gets a little crazy towards the end of the year with the job change, the move, the apartment that I want, and different career goals, and my podcast's growing and socials growing and getting to that space. But I mean, it's been crazy. And a lot of this month's theme was getting into social media more, and I literally just started apprenticing with two different social media managers, which was not planned. It just like landed into my lap. Once again, it's those things that land into your lap that prove to you that your manifestations are working. So once again, crazy. Would love to do a review on that, but try it out if you haven't yet. And even if it's halfway through the year, I mean, now it's April, don't be afraid to make a new vision board. It's cute too. Just make one for every quarter. I've seen people do that. I've heard of people making them every single month. You can do that. And just because it's not New Year's doesn't mean you can't have a fresh start and create a new vision board. So don't be afraid to give that a shot. Meditation is also a huge way to manifest as well. And I think this is huge for getting into the right energy. So as we've been saying, you need to have your energy match your manifestations. You need to be in energetic alignment. And I think this is huge as well because you can't manifest if you are in a chaotic energy. If you're in a chaotic energy, if you're so stressed and burnt out and overworked and you just need things to happen quickly and happen now, you're not going to be able to manifest. The best way to manifest is when you're calm, when you're centered, when you're having fun. And I recently read something that says this exactly. It's like you manifest when you're having fun. And I think this is so true. So definitely dive into meditation. Use this as a way to calm you down, to be able to take a step into your subconscious and visualize what you want your life to look like and channel that into that experience. When you're meditating, you are up leveling your energy. You are in a totally different energetic space. And I think if you actually are really aligned when you're meditating properly, you reach this energetic vibration when you can make anything happen. You could change everything when you're in that energy. So channel that. When you're in that space and you're tapping into your subconscious, convince yourself that those things that you want are your reality. Meditate and visualize. Paint that movie in your head that your dream life is already happening, that you're living that now. Tap into how you feel, to what that would bring to you. Visualize not just the exact manifestation happening, but what's surrounding that? What else is coming to your life when you get that promotion, when you get the money, when you get that dream life that you're looking for? What else is connected into it? Maybe you get to move to a new place, a new city, and that's not just you moving, but it's also you maybe meeting new people, getting into that dream relationship. Maybe that's getting that dream apartment, there's other things connected to it. So pull those in as well, because I think this shows the universe not just, okay, I want this, great, I got it, I'm done when it comes to your lab. Like if something actually comes to you, you're not just going to say, okay, I got it, thanks, bye. No, you're going to say, okay, great, I got this money that I've been manifesting. So now I can put this into my education. I could put this into my personal development. I could put this into getting my dream house and my dream apartment. I could put this towards my family, or I could put this into saving and investing. You're showing the universe an if then. If I actually get what I'm working for, then I can do X, Y, and Z thing. I think this is a great way to just prove that you are not just looking for some quick answer, some quick fix, but you're really working for a solution, and you're looking for something that's going to benefit you in the long term and something that you're going to run with and use to benefit your life in other ways. And then another great way to manifest is affirmations. And I can't say enough about affirmations. I think they are so great into changing your life and changing your mindset. As I've kind of tiptoed around here a lot this episode so far, is changing your mindset. That's the key to unlocking these manifestations. Okay, you need to believe that the things that you want are already yours and truly believe that you're capable of achieving these things in order to receive them. So affirmations are your trick to this. This is the key. These are the keys to unlocking that life that you desire. So affirmations, if you're not already familiar, are little, I guess, snippets, little sayings that you can say to yourself or write out. Another great thing to write down, or say out loud to manifest certain energies, certain things into your life. So for example of this, if I was to verbally announce my affirmations for example, in the car every day on my way to work, I listen to an affirmation YouTube video. And in this, the woman I listen to will say and have me repeat these sayings after her. And they'll be things like, I already have everything that I desire. The life that I want to live already finds me. Things come to me naturally. Career opportunities come to me effortlessly. I succeed at my job with ease. My dream relationship comes to me effortlessly. The things that are meant for me find me. So these are really general ones that I'm naming off now, but you could get specific. Get specific with what you want. Let's say you want to increase your confidence. Then you could say things like, I am effortlessly confident in every situation I walk into today. Say things like, my confidence radiates off of me when I walk into a room, or when I walk into a room, people automatically notice my confidence. And when you're saying things like this, it's so easy to convince yourself that they're already true. And I promise you, this will change your energy. It might not be an automatic fix. Some things maybe it'll take a few times, a few days, a few times doing affirmations to be able to make it click and stick, but that work is happening behind the scenes just because over time, I promise you, it will get easier and easier with time if you just trust the process. This leads us into talking a little bit more about how manifestations actually work. This is a problem people struggle with a lot, is that they've tried manifesting over and over again. They've tried doing manifestation and they get discouraged because things aren't working for them. There's chances that maybe you're just not trying to manifest in the right ways, or maybe you're just not doing some things correctly that could help you, because there are some key points here to actually having your manifestations come true. So this is something I've actually learned recently is, yes, it's great to be vague sometimes. Like with my situation with housing, it was great to be vague and be like, it just works out for me, and it did. But you also need to get specific. When you are so vague about your manifestations, that's when things do get chaotic. I just put on that vision board pictures of Spain. I didn't do any pictures related to me actually living there. And guess what? That situation ended up falling through. It didn't work out. And I ended up going to Spain, but it wasn't the way I wanted to because I didn't get specific with it. I just put up pictures of Spain and the universe saw that and said, here you go. Here's Spain. You saw these exact sites, these exact pictures that you had up on there, but I didn't have anything specific to living there. So get specific. And this is what I was saying earlier, get into the details of it. If you want a specific life, you can't just say, oh, I want my dream life to happen. What is it? What is your dream life? Is it not working a 9 to 5? Is it working for yourself? Is it being able to go for a walk on the beach every morning? Is it being able to eat the foods you want to eat and eat so healthy and a clean diet? Is it being able to afford a dream apartment for yourself? And if that is the case, What does that apartment look like? Get into the specifics. What does your kitchen look like? What are your countertops and the cabinets? What does your bedroom look like? What's the view outside the window? That's a huge one. Like, what's the view outside? Is it a beach? Is it a city? Are you living in LA? Are you living in Nebraska? Are you living on a farm? What's the view outside your window every day? What are you waking up to? What time are you waking up? Are you waking up at 10 a.m. and rolling out of bed groggy? Or are you waking up at 5:30, hitting the gym, doing some energetic work, doing your journaling? What are you doing? What's the car that you drive? What's the job that you're working? What does your work schedule look like? Are you getting promoted? What are your colleagues like? Are you feeling fulfilled in your work? Are you making the money you need to? Get specific with it. Whatever it is, find the details of what you want and focus on that as part of your manifestation. I think house or apartment hunting is such a great example of this as well because you could just say, yeah, I want my dream house. I want my dream apartment. But what does it look like? Where is it? Do you have a long driveway, a short driveway? Do you have a place to park your car? Do you have a backyard? Do you have the finishes that you want? What are the rooms like? How many rooms does it have? Is it a mansion? Like, what is your dream house? Is it a mansion out, in the countryside? Or is it a small city apartment? Maybe that's your dream apartment. It's just a small little apartment in Manhattan or something. What is your dream house? What is it? For a lot of people, that could be that big mansion out there. But maybe for you, your dream apartment is literally just a shoebox in the middle of the city. And the universe needs to know that because it could try and usher you in a completely different direction when what you really want is actually this over here. So be specific on it. Next thing is to get on board with the idea of manifestation if you're skeptical. Manifestation is one of those things you can't be half in, half out. You can't be. Because if you're half in, half out, that's showing that you don't actually believe in the process of manifestation. And if you're not fully into believing in it, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out for you. And there's a lot of people out there that are trying to dabble in it. They try and just like shoot some things out there and say, hey, like, I don't really believe in this, but like, let's give it a try. And they're like, okay, universe, give me $1 million. And it doesn't happen. And they're like, haha, it didn't work. Like, manifestation is stupid. It's silly. It's not real. And then they just carry on with their life and just go out and hate on manifestation because they think it doesn't work. Don't be one of those people, please. Like, if you're going to try this out, really believe in it. And I think it's normal to be so skeptical of something, especially in the spiritual world. If you're not, if you weren't brought up being spiritual, or if you don't really align with a lot of spiritual beliefs, it's okay to be skeptical about it. But if you really want to get into this and you want it to actually work, you need to get on board with it completely. If you think manifestation is something silly and you're trying to like give us a shot just to see if it actually works out for you, and this is like you trying to test out manifestation and run like a tester thing, it's not going to work. You really need to believe in it. You need to believe in the power of this and that it could change your life. And this is how it's going to start working for you. I think the universe also really hates when you try and test it. So don't be one of those people. Don't just be like, haha, I'm going to test the universe to see if it actually brings me this. Like, this is me testing out manifestation. I don't believe in it at all. Don't be one of those people because that's when things get chaotic and we don't want that here. And then, of course, the core of manifestation is convincing yourself that what you want is already true and is already your reality. So when it comes into journaling, vision boards, affirmations, you need to say these things, put them into existence, and try and manifest them as if they've already happened. You can't just say, okay, I want to go live on the beach. The universe is going to be like, okay, cool. Good for you. If you want to actually manifest this, instead, say things like, yeah, it feels so good to live on the beach. Or I'm so glad I got to move to the beach this past year. Say things like, this promotion came to me effortlessly. It feels so good to get this promotion. I love getting to work my dream job every single day. It felt so good to get offered my dream job. Things like that. Say it as if it's already happened or it's happening currently, or you're already living into it. So you need to say these things as if they're already true, they've already happened, they're already happening, and convince yourself of that fact as well. How does it feel to already have what you have? What is that dream self doing in that situation? Try and picture, try and visualize, and paint that movie in your mind of already living what you desire. Picture already living that and convince yourself that it's already true. Believe it. Feel it in your gut. Channel that gut feeling or how your heart lights up if that's already yours. And that's how you convince yourself that's real, and that's how it comes to you. And you also need to get into the right mindset as well. So we're kind of saying earlier when I was talking about meditation, getting to the right energy, you don't want to be manifesting if you're in an all over the place mindset. If you're so stressed and burnt out and busy and are just like, oh, I just need this manifestation and I need it now and I need to force it to happen right now. You can't do that. If you're trying to get into manifestation, take a moment, settle down. Even if you had a crazy day, if your life's crazy right now, take an hour then, an hour to first center yourself into the right energy. So you're into that slowed down, calmer mental space and you're not all over the place, and take that as your time to try to manifest. When we're trying to manifest and we're in that all over the place energy, when we're not centered, that's when chaotic manifestations happen. Okay, because we're just shooting things out. We're all over the place. We're like, yes, I want this, I want this, I want that, I want that, and that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen, and this and this. That's when things get crazy and the manifestations come in, but in not the way that you want them to, okay? Because, like I said, I think the universe always delivers, but the universe has a mind of its own sometimes. And things could come in very different ways. So just be careful. Don't manifest things that can actually blow up in a different direction. Just be careful when you're manifesting. Channel good, positive energy. And I think that's such a great point as well. Is like if you're in a negative headspace and you're trying to manifest something, chances are it's going to come to you in a negative way or something negative is going to happen around it. So make sure you are really holding on to your positive energy, manifest when you're in a positive headspace, and try and keep that positive energy up. If you feel your energy slipping, try and do a meditation or some positive affirmations to bring your energy back up, and try and keep it there always. And not even when you're just manifesting, but in your day-to-day as well. Try and keep your energy as level and positive as possible. And finally, try to acknowledge that getting what you're manifesting and what you're trying to bring into your life can come to you in very different ways. Yes, we can have a manifestation that comes to us and comes true, but it won't always happen the way that we think it's going to. And honestly, from my own experience, it honestly almost never comes to me the way that I think it's going to. When things manifest into my life, I'm like, that was a curveball. I never even saw that coming. That one came out of left field and crashed into my life in a totally different way than I ever expected. And I think we just need to open our minds up to this. This is where people get discouraged again, is they expect things to come to them in such a specific way, and they have this painted out in their mind, like this is going to happen this exact way. But it comes in different ways, or there's pieces to the puzzle starting to trickle in ways and connections that people would have never even thought possible, and they push those things back because they don't think it's aligned with what they really want. So, yes, get specific on what you want your outcome to be. But when it comes to the steps of getting there and that process, open yourself up to anything in any process of getting there, because I promise you, the universe will give you the steps to it. Follow your path, follow where you're being guided to, because there are chances that the universe is guiding you in certain random directions and giving you breadcrumbs that once again you might not even realize yet that are going to help manifest into what it is that you truly want. So pick up those breadcrumbs, even if they don't seem exactly like what your final outcome is. Pick up those breadcrumbs now. Just think that could lead to another step, meeting another person that points you in the right direction, going to a place that points you in the right direction. All these little things can build up and keep pivoting you on this path towards that final destination, okay? Getting to that final destination, getting to that manifestation, it's probably not going to be a straight line path. Let me tell you, especially if it's a big manifestation, a big life change, chances are it's not going to be a straight line path at all. There's going to be twists, there's going to be turns, and you're probably going to bounce all over the place. And you might be back and forth all the time, but you're still going to land at that final spot. And honestly, I think if it was a straight path always to our manifestations, I think it'd be a little boring. Personal opinion, I think it would be a little boring if it's just like, okay, keep going on this path, boom, manifestation, it's here. I feel like that's, I don't know, half the fun is in the work of doing it and the craziness of, oh, is it actually going to work out? Is it actually going to work out? And just seeing those pieces fall into place over time, that's actually one of the best feelings, to go down those zigzags, go down those different paths, and then actually end up at the destination you wanted all along. I think that's such a fulfilling and really rewarding experience to be pushed in so many different directions, to face so many obstacles and hurdles and get over them all and actually achieve what you want to achieve. And this is something that's actually very, very much well known in the spiritual world, talked about a lot concerning manifestation, is that before your manifestations come into fruition, before these things become your reality, a lot of times your life will fall apart a little bit. Things will get crazier or seem like they're falling out before things land into place. And this is another thing that I've seen literally time and time again. And hear me out here. Even when things are falling out, this is a good sign because this means that your old life, your old reality is falling out and being broken apart to be rebuilt again or to make room for what you really wanted to come into your life. A lot of times when we're trying to manifest these big things, it's big changes. It's big life changes. And you can't just layer that new life on top of your old one. You can't do that. You can't just put one on top of the other and say, hey, okay, here we go. You need to rip one out to put that new one in. And once again, this could be for everything from, your job, relationship, apartment, life, wanting to travel and live somewhere else. You need to get rid of the old to bring in the new. So what I have to say is make sure to trust the pivots, trust the redirections, and just keep believing through these moments as well. Keep believing through those moments when things are kind of breaking down and things seem like they're going the opposite direction. Trust in those moments that the universe is still bringing you to your manifestations, to what you want. And I promise you, if you trust that process, things will work out eventually. A lot of times, things don't make sense in the moment. And you give it a few months, you give it a few weeks, few months, even a year, and down the line, you could look back and say, that happened for a reason. That happened to get me to where I'm at today. And I mean, I've seen this play out so many times over and over again. There's times when I've literally been down to having like $1 in my bank account, and then something happens where I get a huge sum of money that comes to me. Things like jobs falling out and things not working out for a new job, a new opportunity to land into my lap. Things like relationships falling out to usher another person into my life that's actually meant to be with me at that moment. Friendships falling out as well, and then some of my closest friends in the whole world coming into my life literally right after those situations. I'm telling you, if you trust the process, the universe will bring you what you want. And there's going to be twists, there's going to be turns, there's going to be points when you think you're going the absolute opposite direction. But as long as you keep pushing past that and trust in the universe that you're going to be getting what you're manifesting, then things will always work out for you. I promise. And so, our biggest takeaways here from your manifesting 101 is first off, convince yourself that it's already yours. You need to convince yourself that your manifestations are already yours in order to truly usher them into your life. Don't be afraid to get a little loony if you have to. I think if you're on TikTok, you probably have heard something about delulu girl syndrome, but it works. And for context, delulu girl syndrome is basically just getting kind of a little delusional and thinking that you're already living this life, and that's the way you manifest it in, is getting so delulu, as they say, to acting and living as if it's already yours, just living as if this crazy thing that you want is already yours. Living like that is, yeah, it's a little delusional in the moment, but this is how you manifest it in. You have to get a little crazy to truly believe that some of these things are already yours. Yeah. But once you do, that's how you really usher these things into your life, and quickly too. If you haven't heard of delulu girl syndrome, go ahead and look it up on TikTok or any social platform that you're on, because honestly, I think this is a huge key, and this actually changed my manifesting game as well. So check that out. Believe in manifestation, because if you are half in, half out, if you think manifestation is still silly and this is you just trying to test the waters, really try and believe in it and convince yourself that it's already true. And if you really are in that period where you don't believe in it, you think this is still crazy and silly, go do some research, read other stories of people manifesting things into their life, because I promise you, like, hearing other people's stories will be able to prove to you that it is possible and that it really could have amazing results in your life. So, manifestation won't work for you unless you believe in it. It truly won't. So, if you think that it's still something silly, if it's still a joke, then, I think you have some mindset work to do before you can really dive into this space, because also I don't want you to have any chaotic manifestation. So Truly believe in it before you start actually putting it into practice. And trust the process, even if there's hiccups along the way, which there most likely will be. This is just a sign that things are working out. And things don't just land into our lap overnight. I think that's one misconception with manifestation is that we're going to try and manifest something huge and we're going to wake up, 24 hours later and exactly what we asked for is going to be at our doorstep waiting for us. This is not the case, and we need to first acknowledge that and acknowledge that there will be hiccups along the way. There will be pivot points and hurdles to jump over. But as long as you keep going, that's how you get to your end goal. So move past the hiccups and reframe your mind to see this as a sign that things are actually working out for you and you're being directed in the right direction. And just keep moving. Don't give up on it. That's a huge part too, is don't give up on your manifestations, especially when these obstacles come up, but just don't give up. If you keep working towards it, it's going to come to you eventually, and the universe will direct you towards the things that you want. So just don't give up. But guys, I am so grateful for you listening to this episode today. As I mentioned, manifestation is something I'm so passionate about, and I know I talk about all the time throughout the show. So I am just so glad to finally get an episode out dedicated to manifestation specifically. So you guys can hopefully have so many takeaways from this and have a better understanding of manifestation if you're new to the manifestation world altogether, but also to really just know how I reference manifestation when I'm talking about on the show, and just learn ways to incorporate this into your life in your day to day. You don't need some crazy manifestation ritual to be able to make this work. There are things like affirmations and just jotting down some bullet points and quick little things that you can do throughout your normal day to start ushering in manifestations like crazy. So don't be afraid to do a little manifestation here, a little bit there. Incorporate it in your day today. I think that's actually how we see the most progress is throwing these little snippets throughout the day all the time. Don't be afraid to just sprinkle it in here and there and say those affirmations in your car in the morning or when you like leave work to go to the bathroom or go on a walk. Take those few minutes at a time to say those affirmations and visualize your manifestations because this is how we're going to start ushering those manifestations in, bringing in that new energy and do it fast. But I'm so glad that we got to sit down and talk about this all today. And I hope you guys can see this as your guide. If you're ever feeling like you're slipping on your manifestations or need that source of inspiration, come back to this episode. Come back and re-listen and get that spark in you again to keep working towards those goals, those dreams, those manifestations, to give you hope that things are working out for you. Even if there's hiccups along the road, the things that you want, they are coming to you. You just got to believe in it. And make sure to share this episode with somebody else that you know as well if they've been trying to get into the manifestation space, if you think that they might need some inspiration to keep going with their goals and manifestations. And make sure to let me know below if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube. Leave a comment if you're just getting into the manifestation space because I would love to hear this and would love to give you guys more tips if you're interested. And feel free to shoot me a DM or a message over on Instagram if you're looking for some more tips or want to hop on a call. I'm always happy to talk through some more tips and ideas around manifestation. As always, guys, I am so thankful for you and I love you all so much. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.